Connect multiple devices simultaneously. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber. Connect multiple devices simultaneously. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
රෝස සුවඳ තවත් දීපු කලක් රැඳෙන්න ඩබල් පර්ෆියුම් ලුක් සමගින් එන නව සන්ලයිට් රෝස්.
Tonight, as promised, the central bank governor announces a $1.5 billion boost in Sri Lanka's foreign reserves. The opposition unimpressed.
Just a band-aid solution, and what it will do is nothing really.
Zero cost. The Asian Development Bank to reimburse Sri Lanka's Sinopharm vaccine expense. Readying the future. Sri Lanka kicks off a television digitalisation revolution that will pave the way for easier 5G adoption.
Now for this, as we go along this journey of enabling Sri Lanka with 5G, this is where it's the most important piece of this project, the DTTB project. We need to ensure we vacate the 700 MHz band, which is today used for analog terrestrial television.
Capping off an impressive year, Sri Lankan all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga up for the 2021 ICC Men's T20 International Player of the Year award. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Wednesday, the 29th of December, 2021.
100ක් ස්වාභාවිකව ලබාගත් සාරයන් සමග නව ලයිෆ්බෝයි කෝමාරිකා.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanaka. The receipt of the much-awaited $1.5 billion has boosted Sri Lanka's foreign reserves to $3.1 billion as of today. This was announced on social media by Central Bank Governor Ajit Nimad Cabral today, who assured that this will remain stable for the rest of the year.
Central Bank Governor Ajit Nimad Cabral took to social media today to announce some good news on the country's foreign reserve front. In a Twitter post this morning, Governor Cabral announced that the official reserve position had reached $3.1 billion as of today, giving the country's business sector a smidgen of relief from their worries about getting access to dollars. He added that this is expected to be maintained at this level throughout the remainder of this year, which is more or less just 2 days more. Sri Lanka's reserves have been at an all-time low of $1.6 billion before today, with doubts having been cast over looming debt repayments next month. Although no confirmation has been offered by the central bank on the source of the sudden inflow of $1.5 billion, international media reports say that it is the long-awaited currency swap deal with the People's Bank of China that has swelled Sri Lanka's coffers. In a notice posted on its website today, the central bank says that it also expects other negotiated foreign currency inflows as articulated in its 6-month roadmap for ensuring macroeconomic and financial system stability to be realized in the early part of next month. Sri Lanka is facing debt repayments next month, including 2 international sovereign bonds of $500 million due in January and $1 billion due in July next year. The government also faces foreign currency debt service payments, including principal and interest, of a further $6.9 billion in 2022. Hence, the central bank is counting heavily on the receipt of these inflows to help vindicate it in the face of a recent Fitch downgrade of the country's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to CC that the bank labelled hasty and ill-informed. Fitch in its report warned that the country may have difficulties in meeting its 2022 and 2023 debt obligations due to a worsening forex position. However, despite the announcement by the central bank governor, some believe that the Chinese $1.5 billion swap may come with some not-so-favourable conditions, leaving Sri Lanka unable to touch the funds to pay off international debts. The claims state that the Chinese funds can only be used to pay for Chinese imports. However, according to the initial central bank announcement confirming the swap deal back in March this year, the funds are set to be used to promote bilateral trade and direct investment, and also for other purposes agreed upon by both parties. Whether this includes repayment of the January debt obligations remains to be seen.
නියම ක්වලිටියට හැදෙන අලුත් ටියාරා රස පදමට අලුත් වෙලා.
Meanwhile, Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva cast doubts on the receipt of the $1.5 billion today, stating that ideally such a large inflow should have had a positive effect on the economy already. Further, calling it a band-aid measure, Dr. De Silva stated that he doesn't believe it will have any permanent effect on the economy, rather than to provide temporary breathing space.
We'll have to see what happens in the next few days, because if, according to Cabral and others, suddenly there was this massive inflow of $1.5 billion plus into our reserves, then the liquidity problem with dollars will obviously have to be sort of no more. So there needs to be no black market at 240 rupees to the dollar. The dollar should climb down to 200 rupees to the dollar. There need not be any problem in obtaining dollars to clear cargo that is stuck in the port. So therefore all these containers at the port can be cleared. And also general import trade will have to normalize. So if that happens, then we know, look, this is for real. If it's not going to happen, then we know it is just a fraud perpetrated on the people. This has been done in the recent past, just a band-aid solution. And what it will do is nothing really. The problems will continue. And we'll just get some breathing space, kick the can down the road a month or so, and then we'll be back to the same place.
Moving on with other local stories, Director General of the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, Derana English, today welcomed the island's switch from the aging analog broadcasting system to the high-tech Japanese integrated service digital broadcasting terrestrial standard, calling it a significant step towards the island's push to embrace 5G technology. In addition to giving television viewers better sound and picture quality, the freed-up 700 MHz bandwidth will be used to ensure superior 5G penetration into households and buildings in the near future when the technology is launched soon.
The Ministry of Mass Media and the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission kicked off Sri Lanka's television broadcasting digitization project today. The project will see Sri Lanka getting rid of its aging analog television broadcasting system and adopt Japan's Integrated Service Digital Broadcasting Terrestrial or ISDBT standard, which is considered the best in the world currently. This transition from analog to digital transmission is expected to offer viewers a host of advantages, including better services and picture and sound quality, along with a greater choice of channels and programs. Further, the ISDBT system also supports reception for mobile phones and devices as well. TRCSL Director General Derana says that the other benefit of the digital switch is that it will free up the 700 MHz band to be used to ensure effective 5G penetration into households and buildings.
To realize that vision of a smart Sri Lanka, where we talk about smart cities, agrotechnology, Internet of Things, machine learning and artificial intelligence being embedded across functions on our public sector as well as the private sector, in terms of placing Sri Lanka as a hub and a destination for technology and innovation, we have to ensure we roll out 5G as well to be on par with other countries. I'm glad to state amidst the COVID pandemic challenges, our country has initiated the 5G trials as early as 2020 January. Today, over 100 locations are covered by trial 5G, and if you have access to a 5G phone or a router, you can access this 5G speeds free of charge because it's still on trial basis. But however, our vision is to ensure we start commercialization of the 5G spectrum as early as the first quarter of 2022. Now for this, as we go along this journey of enabling Sri Lanka with 5G, this is where it's the most important piece of this project, the DTTB project for the digitalization. We need to ensure we vacate the 700 MHz band, which is today used for analog terrestrial television. It is to ensure that we have 5G coverage across the whole of the country. And as you would know technically, the sub-1 GHz bands will have more penetration across buildings. For example, inside this sort of a building, to have 5G connectivity, you need sub-1 GHz bands. We are going to start off our first auctioning with the 3500 band, the 3500 MHz band. The second step would be the millimeter bands, 24 GHz to 70 GHz and above.
Senanaika also revealed that the Lotus Tower's mast has already been customized to handle the ISDBT technology for the digitalization project and assured operators full access to the needed spectrums. He added that part of the country's 5G program will see several technology parks set up to attract multinational companies to set up and take advantage of the international standard infrastructure.
We are forming 5 technology parks, and all of these parks we envision to be enabled by 5G. We believe the likes of major global MNCs in technology will come and embrace this infrastructure to ensure that they radiate their services to the larger international fora as well as the Asian region from Sri Lanka.
A preliminary study from South Africa has revealed that those infected with the Omicron variant develop enhanced immunity against the Delta variant. This development, they believe, coupled with emerging data suggesting that Omicron is less pathogenic in nature, could reduce the COVID-induced strain on the world in the future.
In the United States, health authorities have reported a surge in Omicron COVID infections among children. Several states in the US have reported hikes of about 50% in child hospitalizations this month. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 199,000 children had been reported across the US in the week ending on the 23rd of December, compared to the beginning of this month. However, the silver lining here, according to health experts, is that despite this rise in infections, the levels of severity continues to be rather low. The observation, according to health experts, resonates with a preliminary study conducted in the UK, which identified low levels of hospitalizations among Omicron-infected people. The research pointed out that 50% to 70% of adults were less likely to be hospitalized after contracting the Omicron variant. However, in the face of many such preliminary data, the World Health Organization constantly urges countries to not underestimate the variant. The organization says this because a sharp spike in even mild symptom-causing patients could overburden health services, leading to death. Sri Lankan health experts believe that Omicron has thus far largely spread among the fit and healthy working populations, explaining the low hospitalization rate.
සංකුලතා ඇතිවීම අඩු බවක් තමයි පෙනෙන්නේ. ඒ සංකුලතා අඩු බව පෙනෙන්නේ දැනට වැඩිපුරම රෝගයේ පැතිර යාමේ තාමත් තරුණ අය සහ නිතර එලිමහනේ සහ රාජකාරී කටයුතු වල එළියට යන තරුණ සහ සෞඛ්‍ය තත්ත්වයේ හොඳ අතර තියෙන අය අතර තමයි දැනට ඔමික්‍රෝන් ප්‍රභේදය වැඩිපුර පැතිරලා තියෙන බව පෙනෙන්නේ. ඒ කෙසේ වෙතත් වයස වැඩි අයටත් සංකූලතා සහ නොයෙකුත් රෝගාබාධ සහිත අය අතරත් ඔමික්‍රෝන් ප්‍රභේදය පැතිර යාම තවදුරටත් විශාල වශයෙන් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ. තවමත් ඒ සිදු වෙමින් පවතිනවා. එංගලන්තයේ ගොඩාක් උනන්දුවෙන් මේ පිළිබඳ ලැහැස්ති වෙන්න එකයි. ඔවුන් සංඛ්‍යා ලේඛන සහ පුරෝකථන කරලා තියෙනවා. කොපමණ ප්‍රමාණයක් රෝගීන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවාද දවසකට මිලියනකට වැඩි ආසාදන ප්‍රමාණයකුත් 75000ක් පමණ රෝගීන් රෝහල්ගත වීම වගේ දේවල් ඔවුන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් සිටිනවා. ඒ ඔවුන්ගේ වයස්ගත ජනතාව අතර ඔමික්‍රෝන් ප්‍රභේදය පැතිර යාමේ අවදානම ගැන සලකා බලලා.
Since vaccination and adherence to health guidelines have been identified to be the only way to prevent any surge of COVID, the public are continuously urged to get the booster dose currently in offer, especially with scientific studies showing that immunity given by the first 2 vaccine doses against COVID wanes over time.
අපේ ඉස්සර වැඩි ජනතාව ඉන්නවා මිලියන 14.5. ඒ මිලියන 14.5ටම ඇති වෙන්න එන්නත් මේ වෙනකොට ඇනියුම් කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් වෙනකොට අපේ මධ්‍යම ගබඩාවල මිලියන 5.5ක් නැත්නම් මිලියන 6කට ආසන්න ෆයිසර් එන්නත් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ කිසිම එන්නත් වල ගියක් නැහැ. එතකොට දැන් ප්‍රමාදයේ තියෙන්නේ ජනතාව ඇවිල්ලා මේක හැකි ඉක්මනින් ලබා ගන්න. මෙතනදී අපි දකිනවා පැහැදිලිවම අර පළමු මාත්‍රාවටත් දෙවෙනි මාත්‍රාවටත් ජනතාව තුළ තිබිච්ච උනන්දුවට වඩා සාපේක්ෂ යම් අඩුවක් දකිනවා. ඒකට මොකද ඒකට හේතු කීපයක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔවුන්ට මේ රෝගේ බරපතලකම් පොඩ්ඩක් අමතක වෙලා තියෙනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් මේ තත්ත්වය දිගටම තියෙනවා කියලා අපිට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න බෑ. මොකද මේ හැමෝගෙම දින ගත වෙන්න අර ශරීරයේ තියෙන ප්‍රතිශක්තිකරණය අඩු වීමේ නැඹුරුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒක අඩු වෙලා ආයේ රෝගීන් වැඩිපුර තුලට ඇවිල්ලා වැඩිපුර දෙනෙක් මරණ සිද්ධ වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ බූස්ටර් එකකට යන්න ගියොත් අපිට වෙන්න තියෙන හානිය වෙලා ඉවරයි.
In the meantime, a preliminary research conducted by a group of South African researchers have discovered an interesting phenomenon from Omicron-infected patients. They say that Omicron-infected patients, especially people who are vaccinated, had developed enhanced immunity against the Delta variant. The researchers added that the increase in the Delta variant neutralization in individuals infected with Omicron may result in a decreased ability of Delta to reinfect those individuals. They further pointed to emerging data, saying that the Omicron variant was already less pathogenic. If it is coupled with South African finding that the Omicron patients have developed better immunity against Delta, scientists believe that there may be a chance of the burden of COVID being lesser on the world as a whole.
The Asian Development Bank has said that it will reimburse Sri Lanka $85 million, the money the country spent on purchasing Sinopharm vaccine doses. State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Channa Jayasumana, revealed this today.
සිනෝෆාම් මෙන්නත් මිලදී ගැනීම සඳහා ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජය වැය කරපු ඇමරිකානු ඩොලර් මිලියන 85ක මුදල අපට ලබා දීම සඳහා ආසියානු සංවර්ධන බැංකුව එකඟතාව පළ කරලා තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඩොලර් අර්බුදයක් තියෙන මේ අවස්ථාවේදී රුපියල් මිලියන 17000ක් පමණ ඇමරිකානු ඩොලර් මිලියන 85ක් මේ ආකාරයට ලබා දෙන්න ආසියානු සංවර්ධන බැංකුව තීරණය කරේ. ලංකාවේ එන්නත් කරන වැඩපිළිවෙලේ සාර්ථකත්වය සහ සිනෝෆාම් මෙන්නත මිලදී ගැනීමේදී ඒ ගනුදෙනුවලදී සිදු වුණ පාරදර්ශභාවය සැලකිල්ලට
Meanwhile, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi is set to arrive in the island on the 8th of January next year. The Foreign Affairs Ministry said that it will be an official visit. There are various reports speculating on the purpose of the Chinese Foreign Minister's visit. Some reports say that the Chinese minister is expected to present a number of investment proposals. We will see you shortly on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, commuters will be greeted by a bus fare hike 5 days into the new year. State Minister of Transport announced the move today, saying that the minimum fare for seated passengers will go up to 17 rupees from 14.
On the 20th of December at midnight, the LIOC and the CPETCO announced a hike in their fuel prices. The price of auto diesel hiked by 10 rupees to 121 rupees. Following this, the private bus associations requested the government to provide them with a fuel subsidy and if not, grant them a fare raise. As such, the National Transport Commission compiled and handed over a report with regard to the bus fare revision to State Minister of Transport Dilum Amunugama yesterday. Accordingly, a special discussion between the National Transport Commission, Bus Owners Association and State Minister Dilum Amunugama regarding the relevant report was held at the State Ministry of Transport this afternoon. According to the report, the minimum bus fare for seated passengers, which was at 14 rupees, will be raised to 17 rupees from the 5th of January 2022. As such, State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that all other bus fares too will be increased by 17%, and that passengers being transported should not exceed the seating capacity.
ඒ අනුව ජාතික ගමනාගමන කොමිසම සෑම මාර්ගයකම දුර ප්‍රමාණය අනුව අය කළ යුතු ගාස්තු ලබන 3 වෙනිදා හෝ 4 වෙනිදා පළවෙන පුවත්පත්වල සම්පූර්ණ ගාස්තු ලයිස්තුව පළ කරනවා ඇති. විශේෂයෙන්ම සඳහන් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ ගාස්තුවත් ආසනගත මගීන් ප්‍රවාහනය කිරීමේ ගාස්තු. නිසා හිටගෙන මගීන් ප්‍රවාහනය කිරීමට තව දුරටත් අවසර නැහැ. ආසනගත නොවන ගාස්තුව අවම ගාස්තුව තාම තියෙන රුපියල් 12යි. ආසනගත නොවන ගානට මගීන් ගෙනියන්න අවසර දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. නිසා කැමැත්තෙන් හෝ අකමැත්තෙන් වුණත් පොලිසිය ලවත් මේවා අදබල ලෙස පරීක්ෂා කරන්නත් ඒ නීතිය කඩන අයට විරුද්ධව නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නත් අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
An earthquake of a magnitude of 4.3 on the Richter scale struck 300 kilometers off the northeastern coast of Sri Lanka this evening. Chairman of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, Anura Walpola, confirmed that Sri Lanka is not under any threat of a tsunami due to the earthquake. According to Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, the earthquake was recorded at a depth of 21 kilometers. Sri Lankan shares closed with little change today after logging 2 straight sessions of losses as gains in consumer discretionary and staples offset a drop in energy stocks. The CSE All Share Price Index was up 0.06% at 11,915.18 points at the closing bell, marking a rise of 76% for the year. Meanwhile, the S&P SL20 dropped 0.03% to close at 4,201.55 points. With that, here's Vidushika Pereira with today's stock market report.
Today, the market ended in the green territory as the investors regained their confidence after suffering losses for 2 back-to-back sessions. All share price index recorded a marginal gain of 7 points or 0.06% during the day, with 124 counters contributing positively while 91 counters contributed negatively. Talking about ASPI, it started on a positive note, reaching about 12,000 level. However, market couldn't sustain the bull run for long and ended with a marginal gain. And some of the retail favorite counters in the diversified financial sector that was negatively contributed during the past few sessions were continued to remain on the negative side. Market activities witnessed high retail participation with improved number of transactions and generated LKR 5.8 billion worth of turnover involving 109 million shares for the session.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan rupee continues to remain at 202.99 cents against the US dollar. Now let's take a look at how it fared against other major currencies during the day. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, hundreds of Hong Kong National Security Police raided the office of online pro-democracy media outlet Stand News today and arrested 6 people, including senior staff, for conspiracy to publish seditious publications. Police were seen transporting numerous plastic boxes to the Stand News office for evidence collection during the raid. The Stand News Bureau was partially sealed off with scores of police milling about the lobby and 4 police vans parked outside the building. Set up in 2014 as a non-profit, Stand News is the most prominent remaining pro-democracy publication in Hong Kong. The police said in a statement that they had arrested 3 men and 3 women aged 34 to 73 and that searches of their homes were underway. It did not name those arrested. Now, the Indian government has refused to renew a permission that is vital for a charity founded by Mother Teresa to be able to secure foreign funds. Nobel laureate Mother Teresa founded the charity Missionaries of Charity in 1950. It has more than 3,000 nuns worldwide who runs hospices, community kitchens, schools, leper colonies and homes for abandoned children. The government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi refused permission to the charity under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act after it received some what the government called adverse inputs. India's Home Ministry also rejected an early allegation of the West Bengal State Chief Minister that the bank accounts of the charity were frozen. The move comes as hardline Hindu outfits affiliated to Modi party have accused the MOC of leading religious conversion programs under the guise of charity by offering poor Hindus and tribal communities food, medicine, money, free education and shelter. MOC, however, has rejected these allegations. Sri Lankan all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga has been nominated for the 2021 International Cricket Council Men's T20 International Player of the Year Award. Hasaranga took 36 wickets in 20 matches while also scoring 196 runs, including a half-century in the year. The ICC says that 2021 was a breakthrough year for Hasaranga, who established himself as one of the best spinners in the shortest format while also being a player who could contribute with the bat. The 24-year-old ended the 2020 World Cup in UAE and Oman as the leading wicket taker with 16 scalps and also played some useful innings, including 71 runs against Ireland. He also claimed a hat-trick against South Africa during this year's T20 World Cup, which almost made a win possible for Sri Lanka. There are 3 others: Australian all-rounder Mitchell Marsh and 2 wicket-keeper batsmen England's Joss Buttler and Pakistan Mohammad Rizwan, also up for the 2021 Men's ICC T20 Player of the Year Award. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.